Welcome to the Angler Talk Podcast with Chris and Aaron. Brought to you by FishingMagicianTV.com.
What is up, everybody? It's Chris and Aaron back again with another weekly episode of Angler Talk. How we going, brother?
Good, buddy. Good, man. I'm just getting over the big C. That was holding me down there for a little bit. You know, I was feeling like crap. But I tell you what gets me excited is interviewing up-and-coming bait manufacturers and captains, bud. So the podcast kind of keeps me trucking along and looking forward to the next week.
I hear you, man. It was kind of devastating news to hear that I ended up getting the COVID. But, luckily it's not as bad as, we all thought, and you're pushing through it, and it looks like you're going to be all right to cast again another day.
That's it, dude. I mean, it could always be worse. It grabbed a lot of people by the balls and held on, but I'm kicking this thing out the door and moving on. I'm going to pull the boat over in a couple hours here, charge some batteries, and get ready to get back on the water here this weekend.
There you go. That's what I like to hear, man. But this week we got a nice guest. It's Justin Breedlove out of Arkansas. Has a company called BUZZN Baits and makes some pretty good stuff. I like his stuff for sure.
Oh yeah. And you know what he does? He prides himself on making the baits that he will use himself. So guys, if you're looking for the baits that catch fish, and you're looking for baits that are well made, I mean, you look no further. This guy's got them, and he's got a plethora of them too.
And it's also awesome because it's not only like he's just making baits. He makes them. He is a fisherman himself. He uses them, and he's got the background for it. So I sit down with Justin Breedlove, and I hope you guys enjoy. And here we are with Justin Breedlove from Arkansas and the company BUZZN Baits. How we going, brother?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Excited to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. And I always get excited whenever we get tackle manufacturers on the show because, when it comes to tackle to fishermen, we're like kids in candy stores. It's always something exciting to unwrap and see what's new and something you never used before. And the anticipation of catching the possible next PB is always there, man. So, how did you get started in this company?
I originally started it last August, September, sometime along there. Me and a couple buddies at work, bass fishing all the time. Just got to where, I'm like everybody. I'm losing stuff all the time, throwing buzz baits in the top of trees, losing jigs and brush piles. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to save a couple bucks. I'm gonna make some. And my buddy's like, oh man, you got to give me some. So I started selling some to them, trying to recoup a little money. Posted some on my personal socials, and people started being like, oh, wow, man, give me some of them too. So January, I just jumped in, made it a business, got a business license and everything. And it's been full steam ahead since then, man. It's been a wild ride since then.
That is freaking absolutely awesome to hear, man. I mean, I wish everybody in the world, the most success and try to go out and work for themselves. And I think that's awesome, and, you're probably in one of the coolest industries that there is, probably one of the toughest industries that there is. I mean, the freshwater industry here in the States, I mean, that's a totally different ball game. I mean, my game of saltwater is worldwide, but there's something about the freshwater freaks here in the good old US of A that, I mean, there is unlimited resources out there for freshwater guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
You're good. I was just saying it's addictive. It's crazy as can be. It's a drug. Once you get into it, you're sucked in for life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So what kind of baits are you producing for BUZZN Baits?
Right now, we're kind of just focused on four things. It's I've got a ball jig right here. I got one. It's that is in our spicy watermelon colorway. It's the ball. I'm out of swim jigs at the moment, but we just released two brand new baits Tuesday actually. And they are a bladed jig. That right there is our BUZZN blade, a shad blood, and right there that is a white chartreuse. Huge jigs, and I had to get them. I've had a lot of requests. I use them so much. I'm like, I've got to make them for myself as well. So that's the newest there.
Yeah,
absolutely, sure. Man. And I'm not really a big freshwater guy. When it comes to that department, Aaron takes the lead on that one between the two of us. But I mean, there is something that I know. Jigs, swim baits, and top water is the game in the freshwater world, and I love that pink, man. Pink is definitely my favorite color bait to use.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And Justin, I'll tell you this, man, is a little spoiler alert. I'm gonna be popping in on your TikTok sometime this week, asking you to bag up a certain number. I snuck myself an order about an hour ago, dude, for one of them bladed jigs and a couple stickers, dude. So I'm super excited, man. I love the chatterbaits, dude. Here in Florida, the one of the lakes I fish all the time is called Headwaters, and it's like a world-renowned little fishery, dude. That I mean, I swear by the chatterbait in that lake, dude. For some reason, I don't know if it's the shad, I don't know if it's whatever natural bait they're chasing, but chatterbaits are a must on that lake. And I seen that dirty, bloody shad color you have there, and whoo, boy, I'm looking forward to that, dude.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm right between Table Rock Lake and Bull Shoals Lake, and I literally do not go to the lake without a jig, a bladed jig, and a topwater tied on, literally at all times.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah, ditto, man. And Chris, mostly saltwater, dude. Not too much freshwater, but I mean, when you get an opportunity to get out on the water, you'll know exactly what he's speaking of. Having them 3 tied on is like a must. It's a go-to to where you're able to hit top water first thing in the morning. When the light's still low, and then the lights start hitting a little bit higher, the water starts warming up. You might do mid-surface, and then you switch to the bottom later in the afternoon. I mean, you cover all spectrums with all 3 of them baits, dude. So for your company to offer them, dude, I mean, you're covering all of the gambit, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of think of it as I've got the algorithm figured out. Like you said, the morning, I got the mid brunch time hour, that mid water column, and then when that sun is high, just working a jig, I'm dragging that thing. I'm trying to get everybody to where they can catch a fish at any time during the day.
Absolutely, man. That's freaking awesome. But one of the things I got to ask you, because this is one of the things that drew me to want to talk to you, man, is I think my favorite part of your company is the name, BUZZN. How'd you come up with that one?
It was a play on words, because I get a bunch of slack for kind of being a redneck, being from the South, the boys are buzzing type of thing, some beverages here and there, if you know what I'm kind of getting at there. And
I hear you.
me and my buddies were going fishing. It might be a calm day, a day you might not throw a buzz bait. Like you said, in the morning, throwing some type of top water. My buddy's throwing a walking bait, something that's quiet. And here's me over here. I mean, I'm running a buzz bait. So I'm like, buzz bait's my favorite. I'm gonna make a play on words. And I mean, once I said it, just rolled off the tongue. I'm like, chef's kiss. That's it, right there.
Right.
There you go. Hey, man, that's awesome. And I actually have a friend that used to say that a lot. He'd be like, I'm gonna go out fishing. I was like, his wife would be like, what if you don't catch anything? He's like, if I don't catch a fish, I will catch a buzz. Remember that.
That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah.
Justin, but I love the baits, dude. I really do, man. Are you following any of this iCast stuff that's going on right now?
Dude, I am all over it. I love seeing everything new coming out. I would have loved to have been there. I actually thought about just going down there, not to be, just be a 100% spectator, just because I love the sport. I love seeing all the new things. Actually, a few people from social media I follow and talk to pretty closely, they're all there. So yeah, I'm 100% keeping up with everything going on.
Yeah, I think next year it's going to be a must on my bucket list, man. I was talking to Chris about it back and forth for the past year now, and we were going to try and set up a media pass, and we were going to try and get a booth, and just if anything, conduct interviews there while we were there. But next year we're going to make it a must, dude. And I mean, if you're willing to go, bud, I mean, I'd be more than happy to bring you along, dude, because it's a place where like-minded individuals, especially when it comes to fishing, dude, are going to flourish. They really are.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, man. I mean, and just actual life gets in the way sometimes. So this year wasn't a possibility, but for sure next year, I'm gonna put my foot down and say I guarantee you I will be there next year. Come high water, I will be at iCast next year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, Justin. You are on the show Angler Talk, so we gotta talk about fishing. Okay. When did you get started?
When did I get started fishing?
Yeah.
I have been technically fishing since I was knee-high to a tall grasshopper. I mean, my grandpa and my dad, they got me fishing when I was young, Now, when I'm talking bass fishing, the stuff that I make that I target, every time I go fishing, the bass fishing part of me really didn't come into play until like maybe 3 to 5 years ago. That's the wild
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Okay, I got you. So, what did you mainly grow up catching? Was it panfish? Was it like alligator gar? I'm not really sure of the fishery in Arkansas.
So down south of me by a couple hours, my grandparents always leased out a spot to go camping. We take a little flat bottom, and there's this river channel we would just troll, and we'd hit it every spring. The white bass would run out of the lake that it touched, and they would spawn up in there, and it was crazy.
Nice.
We just being a little 14-foot flat bottom trolling, and
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
can catch as many white bass, as many hybrids that was running up in there as you could all day long. And we go down there camp for, you know, 2, 3, 4 weekends in a row and just load the freezer with as much white bass, anything we caught. So that's what I grew up doing, was trolling. We'd go to the lake over at Bull Shoals and we'd fish under the lights, drop the shad nets, try to get some droppers, some walleye, crappie, everything like that. That's what originated me. And then a lot of people might know where it's at, the Buffalo River here in northwest Arkansas. I grew up literally on the Buffalo River, so I call them goggle eye. I guess they're referred to as a rock bass.
Okay.
Beetle spins, little grubs. I'd walk the buffalo all the time, catching them, and smaller smallmouth. So the panfish play there. That's where my roots are from fishing.
No, it's awesome,
That's
Chris. I don't know if you knew that, man, but the white bass run, dude, that's something like I've been dying to get onto for years now. I got a buddy that lives out in Arkansas, man, and he goes same deal, trolls the rivers in a flat bottom boat with him and his grandson every year. And dude, it's almost like the same thing up north, in New Jersey, dude. You're trolling for these bass instead of being on the ocean. They're in a river system, and I mean,
Yeah.
they're catching 20, 25-pound fish sometime, dude. Like, I mean, it's pretty outrageous to think about trolling in a river for bass, but
Yeah.
is hybrids.
I
It's
mean
super-
that's actually really cool to hear because I do got a lot of friends in the South, Alabama, Florida area, and smallmouth is kind of like a rare thing. So to hear that Arkansas has a smallmouth fishery, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Bull Shoals and Table Rock both have all three. They've got largemouth, smallmouth, and a bunch of spots, Kentuckys, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man. So what are like the most exotic species that are out there in Arkansas in your fishery?
Man,
Got any alligator gar out there?
I don't know. Close to me, I don't know about actual alligator gar. Bull Shoals is loaded with gar and carp.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, if you want to say exotic, a few years ago, the Game and Fish talked about how the zebra mussel, it's not a fish, but a mussel, is an invasive species of Bull Shoals. That's the kind of wild thing in Bull Shoals, but there's really not, there's stripers, walleye, crappie, just a little bit of everything. Nothing just too weird out here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I hear you, man.
I mean, you got a good catch across the board though, dude, with all them species,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to ask about the gar because that's one of those fish that is on my bucket list, and I'm planning something that hopefully in the near future I'm just gonna get in the truck and just drive wherever the hell I want to in this country and just fish my ass off. That is my goal. That's probably my ultimate bucket list thing to do is just hit start on the car and just take off and just go.
Just go.
And I wouldn't mind Arkansas being one of those little check marks. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of water around here. I mean, you can hit the creeks. There's lakes. There's small lakes, big ponds. I mean, there's no ocean. We're landlocked, so
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of water around here.
Justin, I gotta ask, buddy, where do you see BUZZN Baits in the next year, man? I don't want to look too far in the future, dude, but what do the listeners and the viewers have to look forward to coming from BUZZN Baits?
Hopefully I'm planning on keeping the four main baits I have: the ball jig, the buzz bait, swim jig, and the bladed jig. Keeping all of them, but having an array of colors. I keep the main ones that everybody uses: the green pumpkins, the PB&Js. The meat and potatoes of the fishing colors in the world. I'm to get to where I have a plethora. I have the time to create, the kind of unique colors that someone over in the West Coast might use a lot more than someone in the East Coast. I want to introduce a few new baits by the end of the year. but that, I mean, that's just what I'm doing. I mean, the online business is killing it. TikTok is the main reason for that. It's just one of them things. Once I show something off, boom, it's gone. There it goes.
Yeah,
Once
good.
TikTok's a beast, and
That's freaking awesome, man.
yeah, that's the crazy part of it. That's really the main part. Is like I'm just trying to grow that huge following of BUZZN bait to where it's like it's, you know, we're a fishing community to where, you know, you can have a little fun. It's okay to relax. I don't want people to think fishing is just this serious, you know, if you're not catching them, you're not having fun, because, you know,
Right.
just go have some fun, get out there and just have community with me.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I mean, I will have way more fun sitting at a lake or on a beach not catching a damn thing than I would sitting in a bar. It's
Absolutely.
just fishing is not only that type of thing where it's a sport. It's one of those things where you get your mind right. You know, you don't think about the bills. You know, you don't think about what's going to happen tomorrow at work. It's just, you know what, I'm in that moment, and that's all that matters. And that's what I love about the sport of fishing in our community, and it's just a great thing for me.
Absolutely. I couldn't stress like you said, getting the mind right. You know, getting, like, you go to the water, just sit there. You don't catch nothing, throw a worm on a hook, just sit there. You can ease. I mean, just the simplest things of that can calm you, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I know it is, and that's what I think me and Chris have in common the most, man. That's why I think we've connected over the years the way we have, dude. But, like, you know what, you spoke a little bit about TikTok. I say to everybody, you know, I watched a couple of your videos how you kind of coach people with questions on how to get into selling their own merchandise, and, like, you know, for someone to think that social media is not a tool nowadays, dude, to use. I mean, they're almost underestimating the possibility of social media, you know. And I love the way that you're using your tools, dude, that you have at your, you know, disposal, which is social media, to kind of get out there to the masses and show what you're capable of, dude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll listen to a lot of online, you know, YouTubers, you know, talking about, you know, the best ways to marketing, and I can proudly say, since I've started this, I've spent less than $40 and actually paid marketing for it. I 100%, once I started, I'm like, I'm going to 100% do TikTok and just run with it. And the last 7 months, I don't know how many followers or whatever I have now, but I mean, I'm growing like wildfire.
For sure. And I tell you what, you know, Justin, like I said, I touched a little bit earlier. Whenever someone asks him, Chris, you know, Justin, I was wondering how I could get into making jigs and selling them. I was wondering how I could, you know, make my own hat brand or t-shirt brand. He literally spotlights their question and then gives them his, you know, best opinion on how to get started. I mean, from A to Z on how he did it, dude. So, I mean, you can only be commended for that, dude. That's freaking awesome, bro. It really is.
And I think that's one of the great things about social media. I mean, also social media has its downfalls because you got some of those people who are always negative. I will never forget the argument that I got into it with a guy on a group called Surfcasters Inc. There was a young kid. He was a teenager. He was in his teens. He wanted to catch a striped bass. He never caught a striped bass before. So he came on the group and asked for help, which is what, you know, normal fishermen do. You know, you want to learn something, you ask. And I started giving this kid pointers in the comments, and I got about 13 messages cursing me out just because I was helping this kid out. And I couldn't, for the life of me, understand. Well, first off, they said I was spot burning. I said, well, let me tell you something. Justin, you're obviously not familiar with this area, but everybody in the entire East Coast, from Maine to Florida, knows about Raritan Bay. That is not a spot burn. I mean, it is the breeding ground for all striped bass on the East Coast. So I don't understand the concept of freaking spot burning in that area. And this kid, the very next night, you know, posted a picture of a 32-inch striper that he caught based off the tips and where to go that I sent him. And that was something really, really awesome. And I will never, I mean, I cannot repeat on here some of the things that were said to me, but let me tell you something about social media, guys. For some reason, this little thing right here called the keyboard makes them feel like they are King Leonidas or something. And like they know that they would never, ever have the backbone to say that certain things to people's face because they know exactly what would happen. I mean, social media is phenomenal. It does have its downfalls, but let me tell you, some of these guys just take really bad advantage of social media. That's for one thing.
Absolutely. I couldn't tell you the amount of, like you said, just hateful people. Just, there's kind of a joke with a bunch of people I follow. It's like you got, there's a select niche of people that are super appreciative. They like your content, but there's the, like the 5-10% that are gonna hound you no matter what you do.
Oh yeah. There's always going to be a hater out there for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm not that big of a freshwater guy, but I do understand tackle and I understand how it works. And I haven't seen not one thing that you posted that would not work. Everything that you have posted, I'm willing to bet my bank account it will catch a fish. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But there's always going to be that one guy. Oh, he bit off of this guy or he bit off of that guy. Like, why are you hating, man? I just don't understand that concept. How about you say, hey, man, nice bait. Have a good day. I don't get it. Oh, it's terrible.
Justin, you know what? I will tell you this too, but I didn't. I appreciate the fact of knowledge wherever I can get it, information wherever I can get it from, right? And watching one of your videos explain the backstory of a chatterbait, dude, right?
Yes, I saw that.
I was friggin' mind blown because I'm sure a lot of my friends are laughing at me right now hearing this, dude. But I didn't know that the name Chatterbait was bought or eaten up or even like trademarked by Z-Man, dude. Like until you made that video on that, dude, I'm thinking to myself, every friggin' bladed jig is a Chatterbait to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have named it Chatterbait, dude, and called it a Chatterbait. It is what it is. But knowing that difference between a bladed jig and a Chatterbait, dude, I mean, that was something that blew me the frick away. And again, you talk about, bullying and all the social media, big guys that know better. Dude, you just helped out some dude that's been in this for 20 some years now. You know what I'm saying? Like, as small as it might have been, bro, I didn't sound ignorant when I had a conversation about a Chatterbait next time. You know what I mean?
And before you respond, I wanted to let you know that this man absolutely loves Z-Man products, and he didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
A huge Z-Man lover. I love Z-Man stuff.
Yeah.
I try to be as helpful as I can be because one of the things since I've started this that I've really grown to love is like, of course I like selling things, who don't like selling things when you have a business, but the biggest joy, the biggest, gratification I get out of the whole thing is whenever, some teenager, someone who's brand new to fishing, they'll DM me on Instagram or tag me to post something, be like, oh, hey man, look at this largemouth I caught, look at this smallmouth, look at this, what I caught. And I'm like, that's super cool that someone trusted what I made, like Aaron's knowledge, whatever, to go use that, and they, it produced for them, it caught them something, and they got to have that enjoyment of catching a fish off something that I created. That's the best part of it all.
I gotta say, man, that's probably got to be a feeling that is like no other. I mean, you literally made the tool that made this person catch that fish. That's got to be an awesome feeling for sure.
Absolutely, it's my favorite, hands down.
Yeah, no, Chris, I tell you what, man, it reminds me of when I used to make myself a bunch of topwater baits like poppers and mess around in the shed with the spray gun and paint different patterns on them. And when I caught a fish on something that I friggin' carved out of my shed on the side of the house, dude, the feeling was like, bro, I just rebuilt a motor and did the that friggin' quarter mile in 2 seconds kind of feeling. You know what I mean? But to make a company, to make a bait and put your name behind it and actually put someone young on their first PB, dude, God, I mean, it blows that feeling out of the water, man.
Yeah, and I guess where that feeling kind of originated from is that I've got 2 daughters. One of them's 4.5. One of them's a baby. She can't fish yet, but we had a pond right next to our house we used to have before this, and it just had a bunch of catfish in it. Same thing, just put a hot dog on a hook and go out there, set the hook, hand the thing to her. I'm like, just reel it in. And just seeing her joy of catching something for the first time and seeing it's like, oh, what is this thing we just pulled out of the water? I think that's where that kind of originated from.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, a lot of people don't know this, but I spend about 2 weeks a month, taking kids fishing. It's not something that I promote, that I broadcast. I don't need the recognition for it. I just do it because I like it. But when you see that kid's face, when it's a big one and they got that, You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's nothing like that feeling of looking at that child's face, and then when you see that smile at the end when they're holding that fish, man, that is probably one of the most priceless moments ever.
It is by far the best for sure.
All right,
So
man.
Justin, tell the listeners and the watchers, man, where they can find BUZZN Baits, bro.
BUZZN Bait, we've got a website, and that's where everything's at. You know, I'm not in any stores, anything like that yet. It's a website, buzznbaitco.com. So buzznbaitco.com. It's linked in all of my socials on my Facebook page, my Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Everything has a link to it right there. And I keep everything live, up to date, you know, inventory right on there. So anything you see on the website is always available to purchase right there. And I try to be as quick as I can be on the shipping. You know, I ship
man.
at least at the latest, you know, next day. That's something I would strive, because if you're giving me money for it, I want you to get it as quick as you can.
Right. That's awesome.
I
man.
hear you,
I'm looking
man.
forward to getting it, dude. I am.
And just for all the viewers, just to make it easy for you, there will be a link in the description below where all you got to do is click it. You get straight over to Justin. But Justin, before I let you go, man, we are running out of time, but I think I got time for 2 more questions.
Absolutely.
What's your PB bass?
My PB bass. This is something I haven't really said on TikTok, because same thing, that fishing community, you know, kind of come at you doing some jabs here and there. It's not huge. You know, a lot of people might be like, oh, it's in, you know, pushing double digits. No, my PB largemouth is like 5'8". You know,
Okay.
but you know, caught it on a chatterbait. You know, I think 2 years ago. So my love for the bladed jig, that's kind of where it comes from. It's caught my biggest one on it.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man. And
Hell yeah.
I got one more question for you. If I were to give you a call tomorrow and say, grab your rod and reel, where do you want to go? What do you want to catch? What's on the number 1 bucket list fish for you?
Bucket list fish. Man, I haven't thought about this because I've been so dialed on largemouth for a while. But okay, let me say this. I would still say largemouth, because if people don't know the region of Arkansas, they're Bull Shoals and Table Rock in southern Missouri. There's good largemouth and smallmouth there.
Mhm.
But if let's go, we're hitting any water, we're going to catch something. We're going to Texas or Florida, and we're going to catch one of these huge. we're going to go catch a huge largemouth. That's what we're doing, hands down.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can make that happen for you, big guy.
from what I hear, them Florida bass hit differently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got to get down.
Justin, I'll tell you this, dude. Listen, I'm a saltwater guy through and through, right? I love my freshwater. That's where I started. But I got myself on one of these lakes over here, dude, and it was like old Florida. It was like you're fishing on a swamp that's never been touched before, and that like Bill Dance is about to pop out from behind the thicket, dude, with like a 20-pounder. You know what I mean? Just that feeling like encapsulates you, bro. So we'll get you out here if you're up for it, man.
We
Absolutely, man.
Got to make some time and get out there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I'll let a fish. Yeah, I can tell that'll be a whole lot of fun. If we ain't gonna catch a fish, we might catch a buzz.
We'll catch a lot of laughs.
All right, Justin. I want to thank you for being on the show, man. It was a pleasure. And everybody, go check out BUZZN Bait Co. We will leave a link in the description below. Take it easy, brother.
Hey, thanks for the invite, y'all. It was fun.
Pleasure, big guy.
All right, man. That was a good time talking to Justin, man. He makes a pretty good looking bait, and I like it. You know, it's something that I can see. Maybe me trying to wacky rig into a saltwater bait, you know, those jig heads for sure. You know, make a little chicken rig over there.
Yeah, and
something
Chris,
interesting.
listen, I was, dude, before Z-Man had came out with this saltwater chatterbait, dude, right? You can ask friends of mine here in Florida, dude. I was switching over a lot of the freshwater gear and using it in saltwater because I had it on the boat. I used my boat for a mix of freshwater and saltwater. So all my gear was in the gun, you know, in the gunnel, and I was like, you know what the hell? It's out here. If it's gonna rust, I might as well be catching fish with it. So I figure, you know what? I threw on a chatterbait, dude. I caught everything from sea trout to flounder on a friggin' chatterbait, dude. So
absolutely, man.
You know, I can imagine catching stripers, dude, on a chatterbait. I mean, top water with a buzz bait. I mean, come on.
Oh, I absolutely agree, man. Especially when you're throwing something at these fish that they've never seen before. You know, they're going to get intrigued. It's like I tell a lot of people, like, I would say, from my personal experience, I would say maybe 70 to 75% of bites are not because they're hungry. You know, it's a reaction bite because you're sitting there in front of a fish and you're dangling this jig and you're pissing them off. So that's why they're biting. They're like, hey, man, get the hell out of my house, And I could definitely see a lot of freshwater lures working in saltwater. For instance, a lot of these plugs and poppers and stuff that we use up here for the striped bass, these are old musky lures.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that, and it'll definitely work. That's without question. Don't think just because somebody says it's a freshwater bait doesn't mean that it's only a freshwater bait. You know what I'm saying? And this kid Justin, he's making some good stuff.
Yeah, no, I love the logo, dude. The first thing that came to my mind was my buddy Jim from back north up your way, man. And he loves his sipping and he loves his fishing, dude. So that logo literally has him pinned on it, dude. So I ordered a small order from Justin, and I'm gonna put together a care package for my buddy Jimbo for Christmas, dude. Definitely.
That's awesome, man. And what I have noticed about the boys down south, man, they like to do their bait companies mixed in with a little bit of a beverage ideas mixed in there. A while back we had Stan with his baits and he called it the top shelf. Now you got BUZZN baits, and I mean these guys are making some good stuff, some quality stuff. And I just hope that this platform will bring a broader view to people who might have never got the chance to see their things. And this, I hope, will give Justin some good promo for sure. I mean, guys, don't just think that the big name stuff is the only stuff that works. There are smaller guys. Support your local guys. Support your local smaller businesses. I mean, these guys make good stuff too. I have seen these baits. This is quality stuff here for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no better way to shop local than with small guys like this. I mean, guys like Z-Man, guys like Bass Pro, guys, Shimano, all the big names, dude, started small. So, I wish I would have known where Shimano started and got on the Shimano team back when it was a guy in a basement. Or, same thing with Z-Man or, DOA. You guys got the opportunity now with Justin, man. I mean, he's a small guy in his basement putting out quality stuff. So get on the team while you can, man. Get buzzing.
Absolutely, guys. Well, we're just about out of time this week, but before we leave, we're going to leave you with a small gift so you can save some money.
That's it.
And that
Angler
is
Talk 10. Angler Talk 10, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not checked out this bait tank, you guys have to go over to Extreme Bait Tanks. So Extreme Bait Tanks has the most outrageous, overbuilt quality tank on the market today, and that's not an understatement. Chris will definitely put down hands when it talk about Extreme Bait Tanks. So Angler Talk 10 will save you money when you go purchase your brand new bait tank.
Absolutely, guys, and I can attest to that because anything that'll keep Bunker, aka Menhaden, alive for as long as it did without any issues at all, that's definitely a quality product. But this week we are unfortunately out of time. So he's Aaron and I'm Chris, and we're out. Tight lines.
See you guys.
I challenge the